Mariupol, May 15th, 2022. Approximately 2,500 Ukrainian soldiers, mainly from the Azov Battalion and the Marine Corps, are under siege in the enormous Azovstal steel plant. They have been fighting a much larger Russian force for several months, but in their heroic fight for freedom, they have suffered many wounded and will soon run out of ammunition. But they have already done the impossible. They have held off a large Russian force that was desperately needed elsewhere. Because of them, thousands of lives have been saved. The Russians did everything in their power to capture Azovstal, but were beaten back every single time, suffering many casualties in the process. The Russian command knew that there was only one way to relieve their army: negotiate a surrender with the defenders. The day after, on May 16th, the surrender became reality. The Russians promised to treat them in accordance with all conventions regarding prisoners of war. Furthermore, both the UN and the Red Cross agreed to act as guarantors, ensuring that no harm or abuse would come to them once disarmed. After the surrender, many Russian politicians, pundits and media personalities would start talking about, now that they had them, if they shouldn't just execute them all. Well, now it seems like they have made a decision, and it isn't good news. I'm sad to tell you this, and I wish it wasn't true, but the Russian military has started the deliberate and systematic mass murder of the heroes of Azovstal. The Ukrainian captives are being held at a prison colony in Olenivka, in the occupied Donetsk region. On July 29th, the facility was deliberately hit by Russian Grad systems. The explosion struck the main living quarters, where the prisoners of war were laying in bunk beds. At the time of recording, 53 soldiers are confirmed to have lost their lives. That number is expected to rise as many are seriously wounded. The founder of the Azov Battalion, Andriy Belitsky, said this about the attack, and I quote, "It is already obvious that this was a pre-planned act by a country for which the concept of officers' honor is unknown, much less the compliance with the Geneva Conventions and the rules, laws and customs of war." End quote. Let me be blunt with you. When talking about the heroes of Azovstal, this is an absolute worst case scenario. I'm sure that the Russians have treated them terribly, even before this blatant mass murder. The fact that they're using Grads to kill them could also be a way of hiding evidence of how they have treated them. Rumors of both torture and executions have been circulating for a while now. In this clip you can see how Russian soldiers are firing at a surrendering Azovstal soldier in the water. The blatant mass murder of Ukrainian POWs we have just witnessed in Olenivka really shows once and for all that you cannot trust anything that comes out of Russia. I mean, these people, they lie and lie and lie all the time. It's completely impossible to make any sort of deal with them. You can't negotiate with them. Nothing they say can be trusted. They say what they think you want to hear. They are so extremely devious. They have already accused the Ukrainians of bombing their own POWs, like they do every single time they murder Ukrainians in cold blood. It has already been confirmed that it was the Russians who did this.
Привет.
Да.
Очень плохие новости. Ты слышал?
Но сейчас появились новости о том, что по Еленовке что-то прилетело у вас.
Это все пиздец. Они сами уебали казарму. Там было 200 человек. В общем, позавчера переселились с барака, в общем, с 3 бараков, общее количество там до 200 человек, 197. Переселили из какого-то хуя на топ-зону, там типа казармы сделали. А спонсор говорил, что отсюда будут все вывозиться, и тут будут оставаться только Азов, типа пока все состав уедет, то есть потом переселят на Гостиница. Вот. Вчера начал ночью где-то часов 11 работать град под забора там. Ну, там метров 100 от забора. Там было видно. И по 10, первые 10 взрыв, во вторые 10 взрыв, в третьих 3 взрыва пошло. Окна не повылетали, нигде характерного прихода, то есть прилета там снаряда или чего-то, свиста не было. То есть только были такие взрывы. Вот. В общем, очень много 200, 300, количество мы точно не знаем. Ну, в общем, это все построено. Выжившие здесь, скорее всего, я же говорю, 200-300 медики, которые из госпиталя, которые тоже с нами, они там были. В общем, они сказали, парни, вас понял. И еще было 3 выстрела с автомата. После этого всего там был пожар, в общем, такая. Просто они это все построили сами, это очень быстро, и прилетов не было. То есть, во-первых, если как бы батарейка надо разрабатывать через какое-то время, а не в момент именно выстрела града. Вот. И, блядь, ебать туда, переселили людей 2 дня назад, такая ситуация.
Так они именно с градов уебали по этой казарме?
Они, скорее всего, заложили бы внутри, не было прилета, я же говорю.
Связь просто хуёвая, я не все слова.
Я понял. А они, скорее всего, уебали, заложили заранее время.
Блядь.
The only language they'll ever understand is brute force, but they will get that. When they do evil like this, it'll only result in one thing: the hardening of each and every Ukrainian soldier on the battlefield. This will make them fight even harder. Time and again, we see brave Ukrainian soldiers fighting to the death, even when completely outnumbered. They know perfectly well what will happen to them if they surrender to these invading barbarians. And yes, they are barbarians, many of them at least. We know this because of their behavior and their actions against not only innocent civilians but captured Ukrainian soldiers as well. We know this because the Russians have a disgusting habit of filming themselves as they abuse Ukrainians. Making these videos means I have to look at a lot of footage from the war. Much of it is pretty brutal. I usually show the footage to you guys as well, even if I'm blurring out parts of it. The clip I'm about to talk about now, I would never dream of showing, not even blurred out. It's that horrific. It's the worst footage I've seen of this war so far, and it's the worst humanity has to offer. I'll try to describe what is happening in the clip without going in too much detail. It's that atrocious. It's a video taken by Russian soldiers in the occupied city of Severodonetsk. In it, you can see a Ukrainian POW lying tied up on the ground while Russian soldiers are standing next to him. Then another Russian soldier walks towards the Ukrainian POW, having what appears to be a box cutter in his hands. He then kneels down, pulls the POW's pants down, and without hesitation, he calmly castrates the man. After he finishes, the Russians proceed to place the cut-off genitalia in the mouth of the POW before shooting him in the head. Even just saying evil like this out loud is difficult, but it is important to know how the Russians are behaving, and this is just barbarism. Russian soldiers like these, I want to say they don't even deserve the privilege of surrender. The only small good thing I can say is that the monster who did this terrible war crime has already been identified. We know everything about him. We know his name, what regiment he's part of, we know where he lives. We have his address, his phone numbers, his email addresses. We know everything. People like him deserve no peace whatsoever. He should have to look over his shoulder each and every day until he's brought to justice. So, this is him. His name is Vitaly Adosyanov. He's from the Russian province of Kalmykia. And like all other Russian war criminals, he will eventually be found and dealt with. Russian Federation propagandists delightedly showed how a group of Russian tyrants crippled a Ukrainian captive. The world has to realize Russia is a country of cannibals who enjoy torture and murder. But the fog of war will not help avoid punishment for the executioners. We will identify and get each and every one of you. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the office of the President of Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, I highly recommend watching my video on the entire Battle of Mariupol. It should be on your screen right now.